So let's talk about Flask. So Flask is a Python framework for web development, but it's a
Flask.
Flask. Flask. You understand? So it is a Python framework for web development. Do you understand that? But it is a simpler. It's commonly used because it is simple to use. So although it's not the only framework for web development, we have Django. Django is also a framework for web development, but we'll be using Flask for now. Then with that Flask also, we also move into MySQL and NoSQL. So I believe you might not have Flask installed on your Anaconda.
Okay.
So you have to you'll be doing that, like you have to try to install that. Let's try to install Flask. And just say that, although pipe install Flask, we install Flask, but let's see we can get some better syntax to install the right one that we need to do. Let's see that Flask. Okay, we want it installed in our Anaconda.
Yes.
Install Flask. Anaconda. So this is the Anaconda page for installing Flask. So once you click on this, you have the Flask. Are you with your computer? Are you going to do that now?
Yeah. I'm
so you just have to copy this code. Conda install C Anaconda Flask. So this is going to help you to install it properly on your computer.
Okay. So am I going to put it on the Jupyter notebook on the command prompt?
On the command prompt. Now I told you that you have to use command prompt. So copy it, open Anaconda Prompt. Anaconda Prompt. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So Anaconda Prompt, you should install it there.
Okay.
So then, if you have done that, now come to Anaconda Navigator, open Anaconda Navigator.
Okay.
So have you tried to open Anaconda Navigator?
Yes, I'm waiting for it to open.
Okay, I'm also waiting for it to open here.
I'm going to navigate also.
I don't know why it's taking so long. It's also taking so long here. I think because Do you have the Anaconda prompt that you're trying to open? Have you get to it? Is it done?
No. The Anaconda Navigator has opened.
Okay, it has opened, right? Like, are you able to install
But
the code?
command on the command, okay, what are they collecting? Yeah, solving environment done. I think he's still working on it. He said all package requested already installed. Okay.
Okay.
It has installed it.
Okay, wait. Let me try to open Navigator from here.
Okay,
So I think I have to close the Python on the book.
okay. Flask is already installed on it. Because when I went on I went to environment. Flask is one of the installed packages.
Okay, Flask is one of the step packages.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I now should be able to now launch. Share me your screen. Can you share? Let me give you permission to share, because if I'm not getting to Anaconda Navigator from here, then who am
Okay,
I?
let me log in from my other computer. I'm using the
Okay. Okay.
Okay, like, can let me in.
Yeah, I already done that.
No, like, let me in from my other computer because it's not this one I'm using to listen. I'm using for it. Okay.
Like I already accept that. I already admit that.
Recording in progress. Okay. Okay. Can you see, sir?
Okay, wait, I'm trying to get that. I can't see your screen now. Wait. No, I still can't see your screen. Let me stop. Wait. I think. Wait. Do I have to stop sharing? Okay, let me click on stop sharing. Okay, now try to share the screen again, please. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is it. Okay, then go to home. Go to home.
Oh, okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So launch Spider. So be using the Spider application. Spider. This is Spider. So Python Spider is just a Python environment that you can write our code.
Okay. It's better if you're trying to. This spider is good for like web development, right?
Like it gives us an ideally, Jupyter Notebook is just like a notebook where you can
Okay.
interact with your code. So Jupyter Notebook is going to give us a IPython file. So for this one, we can create a Python file.py file. This is a Python extension file. That is what we need. Although we can use this Jupyter Notebook, but I prefer you using Spider in case you want to deploy some of our code.
Okay.
So once you launch that Spider, let me say, I think another window should open. Spider should have launched. Is Spider launched already?
Yes.
You can share me the screen of Spider.
There are 2 pages.
Let me see Spider. Let me see.
Okay.
Spider.
Okay. Can you see, sir?
Yes, I can see. So you can create a py file. You can go to new, file, new, and create a py file. New, then like try to save it, Ctrl S, create a folder for it.
Okay. New file. I'll click on new file, right?
Yes, like save. Yeah, we've already created
Save
a new
as.
save as. So just save
Okay.
it in a folder, save as in a folder like any folder of your choice in app dot. You can save that app.py.
Okay.
So the file name extension will be app, yeah, the py,
Okay.
py. So you can save it in
Okay.
a particular location that you would like to get.
Yes,
So
okay.
okay, you can stop sharing. You can stop sharing now. Let me share your screen. So you'll be using that spider to create to follow this particular series of lectures that we'll be having now using Flask.
Okay.
But I'm going to show you this. So this also looks like the spider that you created. Can you see that?
Yes,
Hello?
I do, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
Okay, so that also allows us to create I'm going to write my Python code there. This is the one if you installed Python from their official site. This is what you get. This ideally, you understand, like python.org/download. So you go and download Python machine from there. So you get this ideally that can also be used to write Python code. So let's get started with Flask. So this is how Flask, the structure of Flask. So the first thing you want to do is to like import Flask. So I'm going to do from
sir.
Like from Flask. Then import Flask. So just like you are creating a web application. So this is the first thing. Then the first thing you have to register your web application here, like app underscore equal to Flask. Then underscore name underscore. So just follow the syntax. This is the first thing you do. Then you have to then come down to the lower parts and put if underscore main underscore. If underscore main name. underscore equal to underscore main underscore. So you always follow this syntax. You can just copy this template. This particular template is what you always use to build your application. So you can then do something like this. So once you run this line, so once you run this particular code,
yes, sir.
So once you click on run, I think I don't have Flask installed here.
Okay, sir.
So don't worry, I'm going to run it with Anaconda, even though I've written this code with Python machine on my Windows. So I'm going to run with Anaconda Prompt. So I'm in Anaconda Prompt now. Let me show you my Anaconda Prompt screen.
Okay, sir.
So you can see this Anaconda Prompt.
Okay, sir.
So you can also run your code like this. Once you're in Anaconda Prompt, then I can change my folder to where the code is.
Okay.
Using CD.
Okay.
CD in command prompt means change directories. So I've changed this. This is where the code is. So I'm now with the code. So the code is within here. It's inside this particular folder that I am in. So I can also run the code with Python app.py because app.py is the name of the file. So Python app.py means that I want to run this particular code that I've written. Do you understand that?
Okay. Okay.
So once you run this,
okay.
No module Flask. Let me see. I think there is a mistake somewhere. Okay. I think it's from Flask, small letter Flask. Import capital letter Flask.
Okay.
So let's try to run it again. So now you can run it. So once you run this code, you get this this file. This IP address. Okay. So this localhost IP address and this 5,000 port number. You understand that?
Okay.
But with this now, you can then copy this and open it on your web browser. It's going to load. But we've not done anything with this app. We've not said that we should return anything. So we might not get anything in the web browser. So I'm going to come back to the application that we are building.
Okay.
So I'm going to include a code like app root. Most times you'll be using this at app.root. So at app.root means that I'm going to, if I check a particular thing, then do something. Do you understand that? So at app.root means that that is what at app.root means. So like I'm going to say that slash. So it means that if I just add a slash, just if I visit that particular home address, then do a particular thing. That's just it means. So this must always come. This is the first thing you must. This is just the home address of our application. I'm going to say that home. So you have to use a function to do anything you want to do. So I'm saying that, like, it means that if I visit my IP address, that IP address I showed you, then return, call this particular function. So I want to call this particular function anytime I visit that IP address. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So I'm going to say that return. I'm going to return a string. Hello.
Yes, I'm here, sir. Can you hear you, sir?
No, I'm using hello. Hello. This is our first class in Flask. So once I run this, let me show you. Let me try to run the code again. So I'm going to stop this execution that is running. So I've stopped that. So I've run it again. Now I'm going to copy this address, then go to any web browser to see how it looks like. So this is what it means. Like after the web ad, this particular web address, this just look like our web address now.
Okay.
So it means that once I put slash after that, what should happen? So once I run this, so I should have, I think another stuff is running. Wait. I have a file that is running already. Sorry about that. So let's run it. So this is what should run.
Okay.
Hello, this is our first class. You can see. So you get that output. Like
Yes, sir.
once I visit slash ordinary slash, this is what it should happen. So let's do some other things like once I'm going to come back to the code. So I'm going to do some other things like I'll copy this. So I'm going to say this instead of ordinary slash, I'm not going to say that. Let's say that once you visit slash about, just slash about, what should happen?
Okay.
Then call this function, this about function.
Okay.
I'm going to, instead of this, I'll say that Flask is web framework, web development framework in Python.
Yes, sir.
So let's try this. So look at, you can see, this is our application.
Yes, if you put slash about.
So this one is, then I'm going to say that slash about instead. Right. Okay, let's try to stop the execution and run it again. But before we do that, I have to add this particular line of code within this. So most times you might need to add this line of code, debug equal to 2. So debug equal to 2 will allows you to make changes within your applications on a real time. So you don't need to keep on stopping it and running it again. Now I have to stop it and run again.
Okay.
So now I have to stop it like this. So because the debug mode is false, meaning that we cannot make changes within the application. Now debug mode is on. The previous, the previous debug mode was off. Now it is on now. So we can make changes within our application.
Okay.
So let's go to slash about to see. Okay. So you can see. So Flask, this is web frame development in. So that is how we create pages in Flask.
Okay.
So you just like to tell your Flask that slash this is what you should do.
Should be in this page.
You understand? You can have several pages slash this is what you should do, slash this is what you should do. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So in Flask, most times we return HTML pages. You understand? You return, you can see that slash, you return a particular HTML page. I might have created an HTML about a web page. Maybe that particular home address. I might have a home.html. Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
So instead of returning those strings, they will return that home page. Do you understand that? We return that home page, home address. So let's do something much more better than this. So I'm going to create a web address, a home page. So in your folder, this is your folder. You can see this is the web app application that we created. This app is what we created as our Python file. Are you there? Hello.
Okay, sir. Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay. So this app is
I'm here, sir. Can you hear you, sir?
So this app is what we created as our Python file. So you have to create a folder. I'm going to create a folder. Most times you have to create a folder called templates. Are you there? So this template is where you are going to store all your HTML files.
Okay.
So let's create a particular HTML file. I'm going to create a HTML file with Notepad++. You know of Notepad++.
Okay.
This is how Notepad++ looks like. Can you see that? So you might like to download Notepad++. It's very good for writing HTML code, CSS, and even JavaScript.
Okay. Notepad++. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
So within the template folder, I have to create, let's say I create home.html.
Okay.
So I've created home.html. So instead of doing that, so you can do all your doc type, HTML, like HTML, something like this. You have to do all this while writing HTML, right?
HTML. Yeah, open. Yeah, it's beginning and the end.
So I'm going to say that, let's just say that H1,
Okay.
this is our first class in Flask.
H1.
So let's come back to our code.
Okay.
So instead of here that we've returned this, I want to load that HTML template. So you have to use this code rendered underscore templates. So within your Flask, there's also render underscore templates. So comma render underscore templates.
Okay, sir.
So this function within this Flask library will allows us to load our HTML page. So I'm going to copy this and put this here. Render underscore templates. So I want to load HTML, home.html. So this particular code is going to check if there's a template folder in your main folder, that application folder. So we need the template folder. It's going to bring up the home underscore. Yeah. So it means that once you visit this home address of our IP address, so then we should return this home.html. So let's try that now. So can you see that? Hello?
Yes, I'm seeing it, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to load this. So it's going to open this. So you can see that it opens that particular HTML file, which is this. This is our first class in Flask. So let's come back to that. Okay, this is our HTML page. This is our first class in Flask. So you can see that. So you can continue to make any kind of web page. Let's say I want to make this. So I'm going to turn this one to H2. So once your code is in debug.true, you don't need to keep on restarting your Python. You know, I'm running this code, the application with the Python machine, which is Anaconda. You know that it's still running. Do you know that that is still running?
Okay.
So it's running. You can let me show you. So this is what I mean by what is running. This. So anything I do within the application is going to reflect. This must be running. So once I run this code with Python Python space app.py, then it's going to run the Python code I've written. So it's Python code that is now trying to extract other things like the HTML page, the CSS, JavaScript if it's there. So your web browser is what's going to display your application. So that is the process. So Python machine is just running on the server. Is a server-side programming language. So it's running on the server. Try to run it. So our web browser is just like we try to access what is in the server. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So this one must be left running so that we can always access this IP address. So in a real production system in which you have produced a particular code running on a server, it's going to run on a web server. For example, I can create a web application in which students can log in. Do you understand that?
Okay.
And log in and check their results. So once students try to access the home page, you understand? It's like it's trying to call up the code I've written that is on the web server. It's already loading. It's running like this on our web server.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that? It's running like this. So once I visit the application, our site, the domain name or the IP address that I have to call, just like I'm trying to run the code on my web server, on my web browser. But it's not, the code is not running on web browser, it's running on the server. So once it's run on the server, it's going to load an HTML page. It's HTML page that your web browser can interpret. You understand? Web browser cannot run Python code. Python code is a server-side programming language which must be run on a server. Do you understand what I'm trying to explain?
Yes, sir.
Like you have your browser. Browser is interpreting HTML code, CSS code, and JavaScript.
Yes,
Do you understand? But it cannot run server-side programming language like Node.js, Python. So our browser cannot run that. So our code will run on a server. This is our server now.
Yes, sir.
So you can see the production server. So this is our server now. Our code is running on server. Then calling up HTML pages that can be interpreted by the browser. You understand? So once you try to visit the web address, it's going to try to pick up the HTML page that we have visited. Maybe you say that IP address /about. So it's going to return the HTML page that we are trying to visit. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's now move to something much more technical. So let me go back to the HTML. Okay, I'm trying to do something like this and see what I'm going to get. So let's get it to H6. So I'm going to run this. I don't know why it's taking so long to load like this. Okay, let me try to stop the. I'm going to stop this and reload it. Hello. 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 Hello.
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is the HTML page that we requested. So most
Okay, sir.
times what you'll be doing in Flask will be passing a variable, trying to maybe design a website for the dashboard. Let's say we have another HTML page.
Okay, sir.
Let's call this dashboard. Let's say we have a user dashboard like this. Dashboard.html. So let's add this doc type. This one is not really needed. Let's say we have a dashboard for user, like a user login with his phone and or his browser and try to access his user dashboard. So that is what this dashboard means.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Did you get what I'm trying to say?
Okay. I'm here, sir.
Okay, let's say that username for this dashboard is, so I want to pass in the username of the user. Username equal to username. Username. Then password. Password. So most times what you'll be doing is like trying to pass it a variable. So
Okay, sir.
within your HTML to your code, with your code.
Okay, sir.
You understand? So let's go back to code. So let's say there's a dashboard at
Okay, sir.
root. So we have to copy this line of code also. Like once a user tries to visit his own dashboard, So what should happen? That is what this means.
Okay.
So let's say dev dashboard. So then we are going to visit this dashboard. So we are going to return dashboard.html.
And for this one, we wrote that the one in front of app.route is dash. There's no H in front of X.
Okay. I meant this.
Okay.
So this dashboard.html.
Okay.
But with this dashboard, if you look at our dashboard.html, I'm trying to pass in a variable.
Okay.
So let's go back to dashboard.html. So this dashboard.html. So we have these two variables. Anywhere you see this double bracket like this is a variable.
Okay.
So this variable can be interpreted with our Python code. So that's how we are going to insert all these variables within our HTML code so that Python will be able to pass in those variables. So this, we have two variables, username and password. So it's a variable. This one is not in that curly brackets. So it's not a variable. This is going to show as normal HTML page. Do you understand that? HTML tag. So yeah, I'm going to say that username. Let's say username is equal to Jakibi.
Okay, sir.
Then password equals to JK23 at. So if I save this, and I try to visit this site again, so this is our home page. Okay, I think there's a mistake. There's a mistake within our code. So this is the mistake. So yeah, it should be close with this also.
Yeah, double quote. Okay.
So let's try to run it again because the execution has stopped. So I'm going to run it again. Then go to the web browser to see if it is working. So /dashboard. Okay, I think it's dash. Huh?
Oh, I think we changed it.
Like there is a mistake here. There's a mistake here. So it should be return dashboard.html, username equal to Jakibi, password equal to this. So let's visit it so you can see.
Okay.
So that's how we pass a variable to our web browser. You understand? You might have a variable, like you might have created a template, a dashboard template, in which once you log in, you see your profile picture. So once you log in, you see your username, your account information. So those account information might have a database for it, maybe MySQL database for that. So all those information might be pulled out from the database. Then in your template, you have a position where you have to pass in username. You have variables, a position where a part where you have to pass in password. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's create another page. Let me create another page for login. Login. So I'm going to say that login. .html. I think we have a timeout, right?
What did you say, sir?
I think we have a timeout.
It's not showing it. I can't see it on my own screen.
No, we have a timeout. Let me see. I think 1 minute timeout. Yeah. Now so you can just try to come back for the next class, for the next session.
Okay, sir.